chance to really put the nail in the coffin here. I think a lot of people want to see it. See you really beat Jake Paul down. Like, you could ask the people want to see that. And how do you feel with that pressure going into the ring? Like, okay, people are counting on me here. I have a lot of people watching. Do you feel any pressure here? Because I feel like there's some tension in the air.
Yeah, I know. I'm mainly doing this for me, and because I think it'll be fun, and I'm excited for it. But you know the one thing, and Ryan, I'm a little older than you, and
Mhm.
so I'm not of Jake's generation, and I knew the Paul brothers, and they were kind of famous. But when I
Mhm.
signed on to fight him, I didn't realize how many people hated this dude. Like, I'm used to being like maybe 50-50 at best, but I kind of play an unlikable character.
Right.
People freaking hate Jake Paul. I don't totally get it still,
Mm.
but I'm kind of getting there.
Right, right. So do you think there's gonna be any challenges in this fight? What do you see in Jake's game that you might say, that might be a problem? Or do you
Yeah.
see it as, I'm gonna go in there, walk into the park, I'm gonna beat his ass? Like, what do you really see? Like, if and don't share too much of your game plan. I
No,
wouldn't
I'll
want you
share it
to do
all.
that. I wouldn't. I'll share it all. Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? It's gonna work.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
So go
No,
ahead.
I don't think it does matter though. So we've seen him against two guys who look like they never fought in their life in any type of combat sports. Um,
Mhm.
and so like I said about combat sports, it's there's different technical skills, but there's a lot of things that carry over. Like if you can't deal with cardio, if you're
Mhm.
not tough, if you don't know how to deal with adversity, you
Mhm.
can't be good at wrestling, boxing, mixed martial arts. It doesn't matter. You're not gonna be good at them.
Right.
And so from a tactical perspective, I'm going to try to be sound defensively, and then I'm just going to put a lot of pressure on him. And I do not think he will know how to deal with the pressure and the adversity when it happens.
I mean, I agree with that. I watched a few of your fights. I mean, I've known who you are for a while.
Yeah.
And that one, what you mentioned about adversity, I feel like that's one of the intangibles that it doesn't matter how long you're training or whatever. That only comes with the experience of competition.
Yes.
Even
Yeah.
though it's not boxing that you did a form of fighting which it requires something inside you that you've proven, even if it hasn't been in boxing. And we don't know if Jake has that inside of him yet. And we're not saying he doesn't.
Yeah.
But we don't know. But we know you got it.
Yeah, what I have to say is, like, I've known Jake obviously for a while now. Hung out with him, done a lot of videos with him. He's obviously been boxing for a long time, like training wise. But like you said, competition is a whole nother thing. When those lights are on and when that pressure's coming in, it's not really going your way that well. That's something you learn in the amateurs, and he hasn't had the amateur fights. He hasn't had where things might not be going his way in a fight. And I think that's the biggest issue for Jake in this fight is, like, Ben knows there's a secret art to every game. There's a secret art to boxing, MMA, and wrestling that you kind of understand as the more experience. You can't buy it. There's no buying this experience. You know what I mean? You got prodigies, yes, but to call Jake a prodigy would be an insane.
That's insane.
That's a little insane right now. You know what I mean? You can't go there. Respect to him trying to get in the ring and trying to do this thing the right way.
Yeah, I respect what Jake Paul's doing too. It's just
I think you guys are right about the competition aspect, like because there's just something even practice can't replicate.
Yes.
You being out there, and so all combat sports are essentially one-on-one, whether it's wrestling, mixed martial arts, boxing. You're one-on-one. There's nobody to save you. Shit starts going wrong. It's not going your way. How do you recoup mentally and say, I'm going to go figure out how to get this done? Or how do you do when you had a game plan, right? You have this game plan going into the fight and all of a sudden your game plan is not going right. And how do you adjust your game plan in the middle of the fight and say, okay, I'm going to change this. And then that's what's going to happen. Then I'm going to get it done. And that's the type of stuff that even in practice, it can't be replicated. It has to happen in competition.
And you look like somebody that takes care of themselves outside the ring and holds yourself up to like a healthy lifestyle. So I don't see you being like a former person that is totally out of it, that just doesn't have anything left. I see yourself as, somebody that still has some left to give, and you're just going to end up giving it to a YouTuber.
Hey, Ben, so how did the fight come about in the first place? Like, how did this even come up?
They called me out when they had the last fight with Nate Robinson, and I thought it was a joke. I mean, I thought, haha, this is funny. You know, has to throw a few names out there. And so I fired back on social media. And then a few weeks later they called me and I said, listen, I'd love to fight. I don't see why not. I've never boxed anybody. But you know, in high school, I don't know if you guys, well, Ryan, no one probably did this with you, Ryan, because you're really good and no one would want to. But when I was in high school, you know, maybe a certain Friday night, we didn't have anything to do. Might be a bunch of dudes coming to my place and let's throw on these boxing gloves and punch each other. And that was like a fun Friday night. So I never boxed professionally, but I have boxed a couple times in my basement against, friends.
Hey, believe it or not, a couple times got challenged in school. They would look at me. Yes. They would look at me and say, there's no way you're a boxer. Big dude, 6'1", 6'2". and I would be like, oh, you want to find out? Come to my garage. I would end up beating them up. They can't take the pressure. You know what I mean? If you haven't dealt with that, I'm telling you, even kids in the street, no matter how big you are, no matter how anything, if you haven't felt real pressure in the ring, you just don't know how you're going to react. Coming to a question that I've been wanting to ask you is, how do you feel about this trolling he's been doing with Canelo, which I kind of found a little disrespectful to the pound for pound champion in boxing, but just overall, how do you feel about his trolling, his disrespect in a way?
Yeah. Well, I guess I missed it. What did you do to Canelo? Because I missed that.
Oh, tell
the in-ring stuff? Are you talking about the in-ring thing?
No. Well, Canelo seen somebody wearing a Jake Paul shirt and to get the F out of here and kicked him off the stage. And Jake kind of took offense to that. And I don't even know why. It's Canelo's moment. He just want to fight. Like, why is somebody promoting Jake? You know what I mean? Right then and there.
Yeah.
But Jake started saying Canelo don't fight nobody.
Yeah, I think he claimed Canelo was ducking people. And he just started saying
mad about his own contract, which you just don't go there with a guy like Canelo, somebody that's been, doing this his whole life, and he literally stays out of every type of business you can when it comes to trolling and stuff like that. He doesn't play the social media game.
I don't see why. I mean, I don't see why people even really take Jake serious. And I guess one of the things I think his fan base, the majority of them have not hit puberty yet. So I think that's part of it. That they're young, they don't know what the hell's going on, that they're gullible. But anyone who's got like half a brain, they're just not going to take anything he says seriously. I mean, Canelo has obviously proven himself as a very, very high level boxer for a very long time. Right. And Jake saying stuff is just like, I would just ignore him. And that's kind of, how I feel about a lot of the stuff on social media. Is like, you might as well just ignore it. There's not even anything worth getting upset about. Like, he followed my wife, and it's like, okay, like, right. Funny.
So in that, why did you take the call out serious? Like, not saying like that. I know you said you were doing it like just because you never boxed before and you're looking at it as an opportunity to do it.
That paycheck, I could already answer. I could already answer.
Besides that though, because like you're a real fighter and people know that. So why would and I'm just asking. I wonder why would you accept the fight in the first place? Like, because people might be like, damn, Ben's fighting a nobody now. Like,
no, I mean, well, so I've never boxed, right? So people already, they don't think I can box, which again, I'm not challenging a pro boxer. I have no illusions that I'm going to go beat any of them up, but I could beat Jake Paul up. So no, it was like, haha, funny. I tweet back twice and then they call me and then like, okay, it's real. And it's like, I run my wrestling academies. I do podcasts. I enjoy my life. I had hip surgery last year, so I needed a reason to get in shape anyways. I started working out. I'm like, I was probably gonna do a wrestling match just to have like a real reason to train, because this is what I've been doing for the last 20 years. And so when they said, hey, box Jake Paul, okay, that sounds like a good time. They're gonna pay me nice. I don't see why not.
Yeah. How do you like boxing? Like, now that you've really devoted your time to it, 1-on-1, just boxing, no wrestling, none of that. How do you like it?
It's fun. So in MMA, my whole purpose, my only purpose was, how do I get through them to get to the body to take them down, right? And I was undefeated for a decade, and so it worked relatively well. I had the mishap at the end, happens. And now when I started training boxing, it was like, okay, why am I doing this movement? Why am I doing that movement? And it was like, everything was like, oh, because I want to grab him. Oh, because I want to get ready for a shot. I want to take him down. And so now it's like, okay, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And so it's like, kind of like, I love learning. And so going through this process of why I did certain things before and why I need to do them differently, And then I guess like the biggest, most obvious thing is, in boxing, your front leg's a lot further out there. And in MMA, you would really never do that because you get kicked or you'd get taken down off of that leg.
Right.
And so just finding like the different kind of balance. I've been watching a lot of boxing on YouTube.